Welcome back to TinyTalk TV. I'm Brian Sodre.
And I'm Vince Perry.
And today we'll be talking about public adjusting. What does that mean and how can it help you? Vince, tell us about public adjusting, how long you've been in the industry, and how you've been able to help some people.
Yeah, public adjusting to me is something that I'm very passionate about. Like really passionate about. Maybe too passionate about it, because I think that honestly, public adjusters, they get a bad rap, and what we are ultimately out there to do, our sole purpose, our license, everything that all the rules and regulations that we abide by are all towards are all towards to defend the policyholder, to defend the homeowner. Because if we don't, we could lose our license. It's literally everything in our bylaws, all statutes basically state we have to look out for the homeowner's best interest throughout the entire claim, no matter what.
Why is that so hard for people to understand?
I don't know.
Why are you victimized as this bad industry and do you think that has to do with influence from insurance companies, government? Who's creating this negative scene?
Yeah, it's kind of instilled in us at this point. It's just Super Bowl commercials, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, you're in good hands with Allstate. It's like all of this, like, we're going to take care of you type thing. So right off the bat, you just think that the insurance company is going to take care of you. And not to say that they don't. I mean, ultimately, they're the ones cutting the check. I'm not the one cutting the check. So I understand the investigation that goes on after you file a claim, because I tell people all the time, even if your best friend comes to you and asks you for money, you may, depending on the amount, you may just give it to them. But if they're asking you for $10,000, you may want to know, like, well, what is this $10,000? Like, what is it that you're doing? And they just want to investigate. They want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And, unfortunately, just whatever it may be, just over the years, could be a lot of storms, or it could be the fact that they're all privately held companies and they are a for-profit industry. They're going to try to find ways to save money wherever they can, and they have their two largest expenses are their employee payroll and claim payouts. So if there is an opportunity to, just imagine the millions of dollars that they save just by to paint one coat instead of two coats.
Right.
It's a very common practice, but just by doing that, now imagine you put that with a detach and reset here, another coat here, and different things that you should be paid for, but they're not paying you for, and you don't know the difference because you're not a contractor. They already know they're saving millions of dollars by doing that.
And I think that's where they take advantage. Personally, from personal experience, why I love what you do, why we've been friends for 15 years now, is because I try to educate that homeowner, hey, there's a better option and you need someone advocating for you. Mm-hmm. And the only person who's going to do that is somebody who fully understands your policy. And that's why you should talk to Vince Perry. Now, what's the difference between a homeowner dealing directly with an insurance adjuster versus a public adjuster?
Any insurance adjuster that's not called a public adjuster is a representative of the insurance company. In the policy, it'll say representative, and it could be anybody. It could be the person you talk to on the phone. It could be a manager in the insurance company. It could be the independent adjuster that goes out. The reason why they're called independent adjusters is they are independent companies. They're not employed by the insurance company. They're hired by the insurance company, though, to go out there to inspect your home. So the public adjuster, like I said before, is just going to be strictly looking out for you. The way I like to pitch it, we'll call it a pitch.
Right.
I like to pitch it as a service. It's something that I've been very hard on now, especially with my community, is because the people think that just by hiring a public adjuster, I'm going to get 10 times, 20 times, 30 times more.
Well, that has been the case for many
Most
of
the time, that's the case, right? But I don't want to sell it like that, because I think first and foremost, what we provide is a service. That service is, hey, we know what we're doing. We're experts in this. We know how to build a claim package, document your file. You probably don't know that there's something called the duties after the loss in your insurance policy, which are the rules that you need to abide by. We basically do that for you. And then we also follow up with the insurance company. We meet the insurance adjuster, make sure that everything's sort of doing what it's supposed to do. And if by doing that we end up getting more money, then great. If not, we're charging a percentage for it, but at least it takes that part of your life away so that you can go do the things that you need to do.
Some examples that I personally share with a customer is, I believe, just like an attorney. Now, granted, you're not an attorney, you work with attorneys, but you're not. But you know the rules to the game. You just mentioned that if a homeowner doesn't know those rules, but the insurance adjuster representing the company does, who do you think is going to win? And that's my pitch to them.
There's so many different comparisons that I use. Like, you're not going to be successful in a sport without a coach. You're not going to be successful in football without a team leader. Quarterback is what we call it. You could file your own taxes. By all means, go on TurboTax.com. And by all means, file the claim yourself. 15 and a half years later, I've gained the confidence to do it. But I tell people all the time, if you want to go ahead and do it yourself, you don't have to hire me. But if you want somebody by your side who knows what they're doing with 15 and a half years experience, it's worth every penny. And I think on average I don't know what the average is. I know for me, the average is roughly 50 to 100% more.
Now, we have a lot of general contractors who follow this channel and would like to know maybe a little bit more about how you both work together in helping their customers.
Sure.
What is an example that we've been able to accomplish and to share with those general contractors?
So contractors are pretty limited as to what you can discuss with the insurance company. That's the biggest thing. We're considered policy experts. So we go into the policy, we can determine any kind of particular exclusions or limitations that you have in your policy, so we could help you with that. Whereas a contractor is very limited to just the scope of work and how much that costs. The advantage to working with a contractor for myself and vice versa is just that. So like, I know policy, I know if this is a good claim for you. Let's say you find the client. You're going to come to me and just be like, Vince, here, please read this. I love doing that, believe it or not. Like, I'll read it, I'll say this is not a good claim. But vice versa, I call you all the time. I'm like, Brian, I don't know about the inner workings of this and how much this is going to cost and the trusses and all that stuff. Like, I need help with that. The construction side of it, and that's how contractors help me. And then that collaboration, when you could find a good collaboration, it's like fantastic, because ultimately now the client is getting the expert insurance adjuster, policy advocate, and expert in just the insurance claims process, and getting that contractor expert. Like, that's, in my opinion, that's the way to go.
Right. Just like anything, again, in the court scenario, you're having the strongest people come together and advocate for the homeowner, saying this is why they should receive this.
Yeah, and like an attorney, they always hire their experts.
Exactly.
Your expert witnesses come up all the time, and they're going to give their determination. And I know stuff that you don't know, and you know stuff that I don't know, and the collaboration, it could be great. Ultimately.
If you had one sentence to share with our audience about current aftermath from 2 hurricanes back to back, and they're on the edge, they don't know enough about public adjusters, they don't understand it, they've heard all the bad media, what's that one sentence you would tell them?
Just give us a call. Like, I know for one, in case the followers don't know, you can follow my YouTube channel. I consult and coach public adjusters and policyholders all over the country. But I know every public adjuster is like, just call me and I'll give you free advice. Like, I give away more free advice to potential clients, and whether they sign with me or not, the one sentence that I would say is just give me a call. Like,
and that's not limited to just customers. You just mentioned also public adjusters out there in the field, maybe new or even veterans. How can we work together?
I literally just got an email. I had a conversation with a potential client yesterday. Roof only and fence damage. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to be really worth it. She's like, well, could you please just confirm with me if I have fence damage coverage or not? And I said, go ahead and send me the policy. We reviewed the policy, and he didn't have coverage for it. So, that's the free advice that I can, now he knows the direction that he needs to go in. If that makes sense, because that's what we do. There's no point, because we get paid contingency, because we get paid a percentage, there's absolutely no benefit to me signing up a claim that's not going to get paid. Right. So one of the things that people don't understand that public adjusters do is ultimately the final decision is made, well, kind of the final decision, but the decision on coverage is made by the insurance company. But as a public adjuster, I'm going in there, and if I know that there's no coverage, I'm not going to sign it. Like, what's the point?
Right.
So we do make coverage determinations, and I can take a look at the policy, and I can see if it's number one, covered, and number two, if it's going to be worth it for you and for me. If it's not worth it for me, it's probably not worth it for you.
Vince Perry with Elite Resolutions. If you're looking for a public adjuster or you just have some questions, follow Vince at
Commercial Claims Advocate on Instagram, Commercial Claims Show on YouTube, Vince Perry on Facebook, Vince Perry on LinkedIn.
And hold on, this guy actually picks up his phone. So call him at
You can call my cell phone, 305-632-2604. That's my Miami cell phone number that I've had since I was 16 years old, so give me a call.